Take it for what it is. I'm just tired of everything. All these fucking assholes. They think they know what racism is. They think they know what discrimination is. You've never been a victim of racism. You've never been a victim of discrimination. The thing that put the bow on it for me, the thing that's been scratching at the back of my mind for the past 2 weeks, the thing that's been upsetting me so much that I couldn't put my finger on was that. These people out there claiming that they're sticking up for Black Lives Matter don't know what they're talking about. They've never been a victim of racism. They've never seen actual racism. Welcome back, everybody! So I wasn't going to do a video this week, but since we're stuck in traffic, might as well talk about everything that's been bothering me this week. Sometimes I think if for no other reason, you should get yourself a dash cam just so you can scream into it. It's cheaper than therapy. I think I got this Prejudice C2 for about 85 bucks. And honestly, like, has probably kept me from having to go to thousands of dollars worth of therapy sessions. So, thank you, Prejudice. I did a review on it. I'll post it down below, but you guys don't need to watch a review if you're watching this. You can see how good the video and sound quality is. So we're stuck here on the 91 freeway. It's an interesting week. It was 25 years ago this week on July 15th when I got out of the Marine Corps. Semper Fi, thank you all to everybody that served in any branch, including the U.S. Space Force. So thank you all so much. Doesn't need to be Veterans Day or Memorial Day or a particular branch of the military's birthday to say thank you. You can always think of that. So anyway, a lot of racism this week. Idiots posting stuff on Facebook. You know, my best friend Nick is Mexican, and he always asks me, he's like, dude, how come you're so mean to people when they post stuff on Facebook? He goes, don't you know that you're alienating people? And I say, good, I want to alienate idiots from my life. I don't want you to be my friend if you can't look at a post and be like, does that sound plausible? Maybe take 4 seconds to do a quick little Google search and just be like, oh, so yeah, that's completely made up and completely fake. But that's why Facebook is such a horrible medium for communication. Because you got one idiot that posts something that they didn't do any research on that's 100% false. Then you have the other person that yells at them because you're a retard moron for perpetuating false information that creates racism. And then they're like, well, fine, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. Good, don't be my fucking friend. I don't want stupid people as friends. And I also don't want people that can't say, hey, look, this is my side of the story. And then when you give them your side of the story, they're like, well, if you're just going to be like that, then I'm just going to delete you. Fine. You know, if hearing an opposing view to yours makes your delicate, fragile little, I hate to use the word snowflake, makes your little snowflake melt, you're like, no, I only want people that think like me. Well, then you're not helping society. You know, you need to listen to everybody's viewpoint. You know, you guys don't understand how good you got it in America. You guys are inventing shit to be upset about. Let me tell you a story. Like the late, great Bernie Mac used to say, I'm trying to tell you a story. So, when I went in the Marine Corps, you know, in high school I had friends, you know, Mexican friends, black friends, white friends, Puerto Rican friends, Asian friends. I had all kinds of friends. And it didn't really occur to me that that was an odd thing for people to have all, but apparently it is. This is 30 years ago. Apparently we were trendsetters. Nowadays it's coming back around that you need to have all kinds of different friends. Like, really? We knew that shit 30, 40 years ago. You guys are just now coming to that conclusion? But anyway, I digress. So, had lots of different friends, and so, you know, my mom had lots of different friends. I was raised by a single mom. She had lots of different friends, lesbian friends, gay friends, black friends, white friends, Mexican friends, Asian friends, like everybody. So, I never ever thought anything odd about it until I went into the Marine Corps. And no matter how inclusive you think you are, no matter how much you think we are all the same, you will never ever be able to truly realize that until you see someone that is different than you in cami face paint. So when you see everybody in camouflage face paint, it really hits you in the heart that, holy shit, we really are all the same. Like I said, like I grew up in a very diverse background. I'm going to meet up with some of my brothers from high school this weekend. And like I said, I always thought that I had an open mind. I always thought that I judged everybody based on their character and merit. But it never really truly clicked into my head that we're all the same until that day when it was like, okay, we all need to put cami face paint on. And, you know, you all do it in like such a way that, man, you look at that black guy, the Puerto Rican guy, the Mexican guy, the Filipino guy, the white guy. You all look identical. I mean, you cannot tell one from the other. And until you can have an aha moment like that in your life, I don't think that you'll ever truly be able to comprehend how much we are all the same. So, there was this officer from Portland. His video has been out all over the place. Anthony Brian Logan, one of the guys that I follow on YouTube, and the officer Tatum, both did videos about him. And he's like, dude, I've never been treated so badly than by the white BLM protesters. You know, this black officer is talking to these black BLM protesters, and he's like, hey, what's your problem with us? It's the white people that jump in and say, don't talk to him, because the white people think that black people are inferior, that the black people can't resolve their own problems. These white people are the racist, and the white BLM protesters are the racists, because they don't think the black people can handle this without their assistance. You know, if that isn't some weird, twisted, sick, racist shit, then I don't know what is. Black people don't need me to stand up for them. Now, if they want to, like the officer Tatum puts it, if they want to partner with me to be successful, shouldn't matter my skin color. It should matter if I'm more successful than you and you want to partner with me, the color of my skin shouldn't matter. You shouldn't exclude me just because of my skin color, because that's racist. You don't need to say, no, black people, we can do it ourselves, we can do it, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's dumb. If somebody's more successful, why wouldn't I go to Bill Gates and say, hey, Bill Gates, I got this great idea. Let's partner together and make this happen. Why should I exclude Bill Gates just because he's white? That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, back to my Marine Corps story, and about how you all don't know what racism really is, and how the rest of the world perceives us more importantly. What you all are talking about is classism. You're talking about rich versus poor. That's completely different. So, my first deployment to Okinawa in the Marines, 1992, I had three best friends. Corey, who's a white guy from Phoenix, Arizona. Well, just outside of Phoenix, but Phoenix, whatever. My buddy Carlos, who's Puerto Rican from Chicago. And our buddy Jojo, who is Filipino. Jojo is Filipino for junior. His name was, I forget his first name. It was really hard to pronounce. His last name was Alze, and his first name was nowhere near Jojo, and we were like, hey, why are we calling you Jojo? And he said, well, because Filipinos call Junior Jojo, so We're like, all right, well, you want to be called JoJo? No sweat. So it was our Filipino friend, our Puerto Rican friend, and us two white guys in Okinawa. We were inseparable. Like, and when I say inseparable, the shittiest job that you can do in the Marine Corps is to pull mess duty. Mess duty means that you have to work in the chow hall. It sucks. You're up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. You work until like 7 o'clock at night. Sucks. The absolute worst job that you can get on mess duty is working in the pot shack, because it's 90 degrees in Okinawa with like 100 million% humidity, and you're working in a pot shack that's like 120 degrees with like 4 billion% humidity, like working in a sauna 10 hours a day. The four of us were so inseparable that was the only job on mess duty that would afford us all four the opportunity to be working together. Because if you're working the chow line, maybe two of you are working, but you know, you're away from each other. That's what good friends we are. Inseparable. We were like, hey, we'll do the pot shack. And they're like, what? Yeah, all four of us. And we can all four be together all day long, working together as a team. So, you know, we're in Okinawa for a couple months. Now we're kind of acclimatized. We're used to the areas. We know where Naha is. We know where Nago is. We pretty much can navigate around. And we're like, hey, you know what? Let's go to an authentic Japanese dinner. Like, none of this right outside of the base gate, getting chicken yakisoba. We're like, hey, let's go to a nice sit-down, authentic Japanese restaurant. So the four of us go. We're walking around, and I knew we were way off the beaten path. And the reason I knew it was because they had told us, beware of neighborhoods where you see American vehicles, because that's where the Japanese mafia and mobsters are. They're the only ones that are rich enough to have American vehicles. So we're cruising down these back alleys and everything, and I see a completely blacked out Ford Mustang, brand new, and we go another couple blocks and I see a Lincoln Town Car. So I'm like, okay, this is the area where we need to be. There are Japanese gangster vehicles parked out on the streets. Let's find us a nice restaurant. So we find this restaurant, like really weird, like you had to knock on the door. So we knocked on the door, and the lady opens it up, and she says no. And we're like, hi, we want dinner. She goes, no Americans, no Americans. We're like, what? Not no white guys, not no Puerto Rican guys, not even no Filipino guys. It wasn't like, well, hey, this guy's Asian, why can't we get in with him? They're like, nope, no Americans. She did not open the door and see two white guys, a Puerto Rican and a Filipino. She saw 4 Americans, which is how the rest of the world views us. And that was another point in my life. I was 19. I had never seen discrimination in my life. I had never been around racism or discrimination in my life. But I'll tell you what, because I always used to say, hey, you know what? Screw them. We'll go somewhere else and spend our money. Nothing will kick you in the chest harder than actual racism, than actual discrimination. And I remember that feeling when all 4 of us had to turn around and be like, dude, they don't like us because we're American. That sucks. And you know what? I honestly don't even remember what we did for I think that we just went and caught a cab and went home. I think that all 4 of us were just so dejected. It ruined our night. Like, we didn't get very many nights of liberty out in town. And I just remember it destroyed. I think that we ended up just going back out to Kinville, right out in front of our gate, got some chicken yakisoba, And we're like, dude, that sucks. Racism sucks. Discrimination sucks. So all you idiot white BLM protesters out there, like this police officer from Portland is saying, he's like, they're all white idiots. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They've never seen discrimination. They've never been a party to discrimination. They've never been discriminated against. They don't know what it's like. You know, they're all just a bunch of little fucking kids, little fucking innocent snowflake babies who are raised by shitty fucking parents and just need something to do because they're bored. Anyway, that's why I wasn't gonna make a video this week, is because this has been weighing very heavily on my mind this week. And you know, just like that officer said, when I watched that video on Anthony Brian Logan's channel, it really drummed back up those emotions. You know, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. You know, why does the BLM whatever movement bother me so much? And then, like Anthony Brian Logan says he's going to give you the facts, this, that, and then put a nice little bow on top. That's exactly what he did. Thank you, ABL. The thing that put the bow on it for me, the thing that's been scratching at the back of my mind for the past 2 weeks, the thing that's been upsetting me so much that I couldn't put my finger on, was that these people out there claiming that they're sticking up for Black Lives Matter don't know what they're talking about. They've never been a victim of racism. They've never seen actual racism. Profiling somebody because they're driving in a 6'4" Impala or hanging out with their pants sagging down, wearing all red or all blue, or a guy riding a motorcycle wearing all green, is not racially profiling. That is, well, most of the time that guys with red scarves wrapped around their face and red bandanas on, driving a red 6'4" Impala convertible with red interior and red rims and red wall tires, rolling on switches with a 3-wheel motion, is usually not grandma going to the grocery store. If it was, none of you would be surprised when I said grandma driving to the grocery store. Just like me. If I'm driving this jacked up Jeep with a big ass rebel flag hanging off the back, you're gonna have some kind of opinion of what kind of person I am. It's not racially profiling if somebody is driving a lifted truck with a rebel flag to think that motherfucker's family probably comes from the South. He's probably only 1 or 2 chromosomes removed from his next of kin. It's not a far stretch to make that observation. Doesn't mean it's true, and it doesn't mean that it's racially profiling. It just means that there has been enough evidence in this world that when you see somebody in a white wife beater coming out of a trailer park with fucking Confederate flag tattoos on the side, looks eerily similar to his sister, it's not a far stretch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know me, I love Dave Chappelle, even though I did that horrible review of his stupid ass 826 thing. Dave Chappelle put it perfectly. If you dress like a cop and somebody runs up to you and says, "Oh, police officer, help me," you say, "Hey, just because I am dressed this way doesn't mean that I'm a police officer." You know, he was talking about whores. If you dress like a whore, people are going to be like, they're going to assume you're a whore. If you dress like a gangbanger, people are going to assume you're a gangbanger. If you're rolling around in a fucking Nissan Maxima with all blacked out windows on fucking rims at 2 a.m. in South Central Los Angeles, the police are probably going to have some questions for you. Because grandma ain't going out to can get groceries in a lowered fucking Maxima on rims with blacked out windows. It's not racism. It's not racism. It's not being prejudiced. Maybe a little bit prejudiced. But, you know, hey, that's what it's ingrained in your mind, no matter how hard you try to get away from it. It's a survival instinct you can't turn off. The human brain is wired to pick up patterns. So when you see a certain pattern, like if you're a black man, you see 5 white guys with shaved heads wearing shorts and their white socks pulled all the way up to their shorts and chains hanging out of their pockets connected to their wallets. As a black man, you should probably be like, maybe I don't want to hang out with those guys, maybe. They could be perfectly nice guys. Doesn't mean that they're Nazi skinheads, but when you see a bald-headed white guy with a wife beater, fucking shorts, khaki shorts, white socks pulled up, chain hanging out of his pocket, you think a certain way, and it's a survival instinct, and you can't beat it, and you can't override it. It's not discrimination, it's not racism, it's a survival instinct. So, anyway, that's my rant. Take it for what it is. I'm just tired of everything. All these fucking assholes. They think they know what racism is. They think they know what discrimination is. You've never been a victim of racism. You've never been a victim of discrimination. It's funny how you have to have somebody who you think is white tell you that. But anyway, I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. It is Sunday, and I think they're stopping at the red light. I am back in Norco, where the streets are painted red, white, and blue. I love it. I love being in America. Like I was telling my brother, I love that we live in a country where we are so free that we have to make up shit to be racist about. Like that Bubba Smollett and that congressperson who wrote himself a fake hate letter. Because there's no racism. They have to make this shit up. So, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next time. Bye.